Welcome to High Mind, a podcast where I get high and explore life. Mostly it's my deep thoughts. Sometimes it isn't, though. But mostly it is. Except when it's not. Anyways, enjoy. How's it going? Just high and thinking about stuff again. um, and man, I was just thinking about some things that I've come in contact with my own life in the past few years, and even farther than that maybe, and then also recently. And one of the things that I've seen happen again and again and again is people either telling other people or telling me what is possible and what is good or what is helpful and what is useful and what is bad. And I just seen a lot of people and heard a lot of people just telling other people, and telling them in a way that is unquestionable, like this is the absolute truth, or that is the absolute truth, or this is the absolute best, and this is what's good for you always, and that thing can never be good for you, no matter the situation, no matter the circumstance. And I think there are some things like that in life. I'm not saying everything is completely relative. I don't really think that. I think there are some things that are as absolute as I can understand them to be. But I don't think that that's most things, and I think a lot of people treat most things as if they're some kind of objective, absolute truth. And then they go around forcing those ideas or thoughts or whatever onto other people, or maybe even just projecting their own fears onto other people, based on what they experienced in life. And from their experience, when they tried, A, B, C, or when they did this career or that career, or when they, did this with their money or not, or when they used or didn't use this tool or that tool, or read this kind of book but not that kind of book, or eat this kind of food but not that kind of food, or smoke weed or not, drink or not. All these things that I just see people telling other people which ones are good and which ones aren't. And I don't know, man. I don't think it's that simple. I think it's a lot more dependent on how you do things, why you do them, what you need from them, or if you need anything from them, how well they serve you for good purposes, and how well they serve the people around you for good purposes. And I don't know, I've kind of felt that way for a while, but I'm trying to learn to not care so much when people tell me stuff like that, and let it get to me and make me angry or upset or frustrated, or whatever it does to me when I care, and I want them to understand it the way I understand it, or I want them to see it the way I see it, and it makes me, maybe feel bad if it's someone close to me, or just upset and frustrated because this other person that either doesn't know me or doesn't know me well is trying to tell me the way things are, or if this or that is wrong, or I shouldn't be doing this, or whatever. I get frustrated, and it makes me, I don't know, and I don't think I should, because I feel like if I know, and I do, I feel like I know as well as I can, the things that seem to serve me and be good for my life and be good for the people close to me and the people far from me, the things that I feel like help create good change in my life. And if something is pushing me towards more love and compassion and understanding for myself and other people, then as long as it's not harming someone else in the process, like I don't see why anything that serves that purpose would be bad, you know? And that's a complicated discussion though. I don't think it's even as simple as that. Like as you get into different topics like, oh, what drugs or substances or different things like that are okay to take and not, and you know, what things could you do that could actually be like harming you physically or mentally, or and it'd be hard to argue for some of those things. But I don't know, unless I'm talking to somebody, I'm not going to have that conversation right now with just me. But man, I don't know, like and I'll give a couple specific examples just to talk about them. One is, you can see I am barefoot. Hello. And I actually go barefoot quite a bit on trails, just around during the day a little bit. I mean, I put on shoes when I go into stores, okay, and stuff, and where everyone's at that freaks out about people being barefoot. And I know there's germs, okay, and there's things you can get. And so like I do wear shoes into stores and restrooms and wherever. But when I'm not in those places, or if I'm out on a trail, I go barefoot quite a bit. And I run barefoot too. I don't run any crazy distances yet, but I'm building up to it. But I've had, you know, people tell me that you're either one, like barefoot running is just bad for you, bad for your this or that, or your knees or joints or whatever it is, or it's just not, you can't really do it. We weren't meant to do that. Like people weren't meant to run barefoot. And tons of people have written books and there's been scientific studies and stuff, and there's still people on both sides of the opinion on that one. But for me personally, like, I just don't see that to be the case. Like, I feel like running barefoot is good and it's helped me. And it's actually, at first, I did injure myself some. But, so when I did that though, so when I first started and when I injured myself, I could have just said, barefoot running is bad for you. Boom, it hurt me. I hurt my feet, you know, my arches, I couldn't walk for a few days or whatever it was. I could list all these reasons of bad things that happened and say, boom, therefore barefoot running is bad. And it's like, okay. And then I could go throughout life with that opinion of barefoot running. And then every time I came across someone who's doing that, I'd be like, hey, you shouldn't do that. That's bad. It'll hurt you. I'd be like, oh, really? Like it helps me? And I'd be like, well, it's just because it hasn't happened to you yet. It'll happen, trust me. You'll get hurt eventually because I tried it. It didn't work for me. But then I would just be projecting my own personal experience with barefoot running onto everyone else around me. And they may be doing it completely different than me in a healthier way. You know, they may be taking their time, stretching more, you know, not pushing themselves too far or too fast too soon. And so the way in which they approach barefoot running could bring great benefit to their life, and they could get stronger feet, maybe correct their posture some, you know, their running form might change and adjust and become more natural and sustainable, so then they can actually be more active and run more, and so their heart health is better, and all these great benefits could come to their life as a result of barefoot running, which in my opinion was, oh, this is always unhealthy for you because I tried it, didn't work. So, which is dumb, you know? Like that's so dumb. And I'm not saying everyone who does that is dumb, but that is a dumb way to think. So stop it. And I'm trying to stop that too. And it's actually helped me a ton. One, I've been able to adopt more things into my life that have been just like huge helps in my own personal growth. And then being a better person is always better for everyone around that person too, right? But yeah, so I changed my approach to barefoot running though, right? So I slowed down. I realized that I was being imbalanced I never hardly stretched, you know, not nearly enough. I was only ever out there exercising or pushing myself hard or whatever, trying to muscle like strength my way through this thing that was actually a delicate process that needed to be approached patiently and intuitively And it's just like, I just think that so many things in life get misused, and then the misusers mislabel them. I think that's happened with weed. I think that's happened with definitely weed. I don't know what barefoot running. Bleh, I was just talking about that. I don't know. Whatever things are labeled, I think always just ask yourself, like, why does it have that label? Who gave it that label? And what was their experience with that thing? And that's why they labeled it as such, you know? See what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people deciding for other people what's best for them when we're not them. Like, so why are we trying to do that? You know? I think the people that know themselves best is usually themselves, right? Anyways, look, dude, I'm on. Still barefoot, right? See this super gravelly trail? I've been building up to this for about 2 years now. I've been very slowly taking barefoot walks on pavement, on gravel, on dirt, on grass, like all over the place, different surfaces, in sand, climbing on rocks, but just going really slow has been the key for me. Taking my time, being patient, being intuitive. If something doesn't feel right, I back off or I stop entirely. Put my shoes back on, maybe that was too much, too soon, or I was needing too much from it at the time, and so I pushed it farther than I should have. That's what I used to do more of anyways, because I had my identity wrapped up so much in what I felt like I needed to become, and so I pushed myself too hard and hurt myself. And then, which luckily for me, I never really started labeling this or that as bad activities. I would more just get disappointed that I'd failed and see myself as a failure or too weak or whatever, and get frustrated instead of being like, oh, that activity is shitty and bad and it hurts people, and never doing that again, and then going around telling everyone else that, hey, don't do that activity, it's horrible for you. It can never be good. Which I feel like is what a lot of people do. But instead, I've just seen that a lot of times when things have caused hurt and damage in my own life, I can see now that most of them have been because of my approach to them and how I use them and why. And, and some things I have seen, it's like, oh yeah, that was 100% bad for me. And that was just the truth of it. But those things are a little more obvious usually. But for me, honestly, it was a lot of good things that I was trying to do in my life, or a lot of good things I was pursuing or progress. And I didn't approach those with enough patience or care. And so then I ended up hurting myself either physically or mentally or spiritually. But yeah, and so I'm reapproaching things. I'm reapproaching a lot of things in life, reapproaching a lot of things in my mind with a different approach, try to do with a little more patience and care, and I'm actually doing super well. Getting hurt a lot less. I'm enjoying things a lot more. I don't have these weird self-inflicted pressures on all the activities I do and a need to make everything come out with a certain result. And then if I don't get that result, I get really frustrated and angry, or I get depressed and I feel like a failure. And then once I'm in that place for long enough, then I start looking for other things to blame it on other than just me, because after enough time of blaming yourself, that doesn't feel good anymore, and no one wants to feel like they're the source of all of their life's problems. And so it's natural to look around and be like, all right, what else could it be that could be causing me to feel this way or be this way or not be what I want? And who else could be causing that? And then you start picking fights with people around you, or I don't know, misinterpreting little actions or little tones or little whatevers that you see as, see, that's why I'm unhappy. And I'm speaking for me, because that's what I would do, and just fucking sucked. And so I'm trying not to do that anymore, Sometimes you need to be able to see your life in a new way to see it differently, you know? Like, especially if you're stuck in like a really shitty place. I realize I say shitty a lot. That's like my descriptor for things that aren't good. I think it's a pretty good descriptor. I should probably not just use that one because I'm gonna start losing my vocabulary for things that aren't nice and fun. But if you're in a really not great place in your life, man, it could be super helpful to maybe see it in a new way, you know? And just see like, oh, that's what it was the whole time. Or it really is just me. And sometimes seeing things in a new way is not fun at all, because maybe you just pull back a curtain and you realize, oh, it is just me. That really sucks. Like, I actually felt a little better when it was everyone else's fault and not mine, because then at least I felt like I'm good, everyone else just sucks, and that's why life sucks. It's not because me or anything about me. And then that is actually not a fun truth to discover, as I have found many a time. But I feel like if we're able to see those things and withstand them and continue on and not get depressed and acknowledge it, be like, okay, I accept that that is the truth, that this is my fault, or this is my error in judgment or thinking, or I'm only here because of me, because decisions I've made or haven't made, or chances I took or didn't take. Like, in the end, it's on me. So once I've been able to kind of accept some of those things, then I can actually get better. It's like, if I can never see, first of all, if I can never even see and know they're there, I can't change it. But then if I see and know it's there, I have to be able to acknowledge it and accept it, that it's real and really there, and not try to explain it away still, even once I've been shown what it is, and keep blaming other things. So if I can do those things, I can see it, acknowledge it, that it's real and true, accept it, and then also have, I don't know if it's courage or what, but something like courage, have the something like courage to do something about it, or even see a glimmer of hope that it could be different, and then step forward and try to change, try to become something better, you know? And that's one thing that, like, weed has been super instrumental in me being able to do. So I don't see why that's a bad thing, you know? I've had some people say that recently, and I understand where some people are coming from, though, you know? And I understand it's like based on their life experience, like that's a very understandable thing to think, a very understandable thing to think based on what you've seen in life happen, because, you know, we can all go and make decisions in life only based on what we've seen, because that's the most real to us. That's what we've been around, that's what we've touched, that's what we've interacted with, like, that's what we've heard. Like, we can't act out of things we haven't seen or heard. Well, some people do, but that's also what I'm saying don't do. And I do that too sometimes, so not being whatever. But yeah, so I get it. Like, I get the concern or whatever based on different people's experiences with things, but what I don't get is the ability to even consider another point of view or perspective on a thing or an interaction or a group of people or a way of life or lifestyle choice or what other people see as being responsible or not, or what, I don't know. Like, why are we so locked into only seeing the world the way we see it, and seeing the way we see the world as the way the world is? Like, there's this quote that me and Tara like always say to each other, or I think she found it, said it to me, and then now we say it to each other. So I'm giving you credit, babe. You're the one that found this quote and told it to me. But we say it all the time, and it's, I don't even remember who said it. Dang it. So I won't give them credit because they're the ones that actually wrote it, but whoever wrote this said, "We don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are." And that's so true. And it's really hard not to do. And I don't know if we even can do it 100%, because it's like you can't see but through your own eyes. Like there's a, but I think we can give room for a possibility or understanding that the world could be different to other people, and that be okay, even, not just like, yeah, everyone has their own opinion, but mine's the only right one. Or like, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Like, people throw that phrase out there, and you're basically just like trying to mask the fact that you're saying like, yeah, well, you're allowed to think, everyone's entitled to think something wrong, And it's just like, okay, that's cool. I guess we're not gonna have a real conversation anymore. But yeah, so that was the stuff I was thinking about, guys. In case you're curious and wondering, like, I wonder what Zach's thinking about today. Seems like an interesting fella. I'd like to poke around inside his head and find out what's going on there. So there it is for you, because I know you guys wanted it. I know you wanted to hear it. Sorry that was so long. I'll make the next one like 3 minutes. That way you'll get your life back. All right. See you guys later. If you listened this far, I am truly sorry. But you will never get that time back. See you later.